The wind tore through the canyon like it was trying to strip the flesh off bone. Asterisk dust spiraled into the orange dusk, clinging to the hem of a man's coat as he staggered down a switchback trail, boots cracked, hat lost miles ago. Across his chest he carried a girl wrapped in torn flannel and wool, too still, too quiet. Her skin was warm with fever, her lips pale. A broken locket hung from her neck, its hinge rusted shut, its chain nearly cutting into her skin. Asterisk he didn't speak, didn't pray, didn't dare hope. Asterisk. The trail ended at a rise where the desert gave way to the ragged outskirts of Klamath, a place that used to matter, before the war and the silence after. The town lay slumped in the dusk like a boxer who didn't know the fight had ended years ago. A church steeple leaned left like it had been punched. Smoke curled from chimneys that hadn't seen meat in days. Asterisk. Jude Calhoun's knees buckled. But he didn't fall. He shifted the girl higher against his chest and started down the last slope. Behind him, far off, gunfire. 2 shots, then 3, muffled by the wind. A posse was still tracking him. He had a day at most, maybe hours. They thought they were chasing a criminal. Maybe he was. Depends on who you asked. Asterisk. He crossed into Klamath as shadows stretched there. Long fingers over the mud. No one came to greet him. A few eyes peered from behind shutters, then vanished. A mangy dog limped across the road. A boy with one arm dragged a bucket through the dirt. The place smelled like wet leather and wood rot. Jude ignored it all. Asterisk. His boots led him to the doctor's shack first, a single window, cracked and shuttered. He kicked the door in, empty inside, bottles smashed. Scorch marks on the cot. Gone, or dead. He tried the blacksmith's, locked, the boarding house, same. Asterisk. By the time he reached the old chapel, his legs were trembling. He dropped to one knee on the porch, cradling the child tighter. Her breath came in faint shivers. She hadn't spoken in half a day, and then, barely audible, she moved her lips. Papa. He looked down fast, eyes wild. She blinked slow. Asterisk. Is it blue? Asterisk. What, baby? She tried to lift her head, failed. The sky. He looked up. Overhead, clouds hung like burned wool. Smoke gray, swollen. The sun, if it was still up, was just a smear behind the haze. He swallowed hard. Asterisk. It will be. When you're better. She didn't answer. The chapel door opened. Behind him, with a creak like a dying tree, Asterisk, a silhouette stood in the frame, wide shoulders, hat pulled low. Rifle aimed forward. 2 others flanked him, one wiry, one squat. But the man in the middle did all the talking just by standing there. Asterisk. Sheriff. Abram Rusk. His voice came low and flat. On your feet, Calhoun. Asterisk. Jude didn't move, didn't speak. Just rocked slightly, like a man trying to keep a candle lit. Against the wind, the rifle's barrel didn't waver. You got a bounty on you. Took a child that wasn't yours. Asterisk. She wasn't theirs either, Jude rasped. His voice was hoarse, burnt out. Not really. Asterisk. You're trespassing. On Apache land. You crossed a war trail. You're bleeding from both boots. You're either a fool or a dead man. Asterisk. Jude shifted the girl in his arms and looked up, not pleading, not proud. Just hollow. Asterisk. You're right, I'm a dead man. Asterisk. Rusk cocked. The rifle, and that's when Jude said it, so soft it might have been missed if the wind didn't hush to listen. Take me. Not her. My little girl's never even seen the sky? The churchyard went still. Rusk said nothing for a long time. The other 2 deputies glanced at each other, unsure. The dust picked up again, spinning low and bitter between them. Jude stared straight ahead, eyes glassy. The girl stirred faintly against his chest. Rusk's jaw worked behind his beard. He didn't lower the rifle. Not yet, but he didn't pull the trigger either. He stepped forward. Asterisk. Put her down, he said. Gruffly. Asterisk. Jude hesitated, just for a second, then laid the child on the chapel steps. Gently, like she might break. He backed away slowly, hands visible, wrists trembling. Asterisk. Rusk knelt beside the girl, placed a hand on her forehead, burning hot. Marshal out of Santa Fe says she's kin to a senator's wife, he said without looking up. Sent out west to a protection camp. Camp got torched. You were the only survivor. Jude didn't answer. Rusk looked at him now. Asterisk, what happened in that camp? Asterisk, Jude blinked once. His jaw clenched. A vein in his neck twitched. Asterisk, same thing that happened everywhere else. Men lost themselves, found things worse than death. The sheriff stood. You ran, took her, crossed 3 territories, killed 2 bounty men on the way. Asterisk, they drew first, Jude said quietly. Didn't care if they cracked her ribs getting her back, I did. He swayed slightly, then his knees gave out. Asterisk. Rusk caught him before he hit the ground. He woke to the sound of wind and hoofbeats. Asterisk, he was chained inside a barn. Dim light filtered through gaps in the roof. Rain tapped gently against the beams. His head throbbed and the iron around his wrists bit into bruised skin. The barn door creaked open. Sheriff. Rusk stepped inside, alone. Asterisk. She's in my house. Being tended. Jude sat up. By who? Asterisk. My wife, Rusk muttered. What's left of her? Asterisk. He crouched by a crate, poured 2 cups of water. Set one near Jude's feet. Asterisk. Your name was on that poster for child theft. But I saw how you held her. Jude said nothing. You had a chance to run when we first saw you. Could have left her behind. You didn't. Still silence. Rusk leaned in, voice lowering. Asterisk. She call you Papa? Jude's eyes flinched, just slightly. She ever seen the sky before today? A long pause. No, Jude whispered. The rain outside grew stronger. Rusk stood. Walked to the door. Asterisk. You got a day, maybe less. Marshall's men will be passing through come sunup. I won't lie for you. He opened the door halfway, paused. I'm not asking what you did before, but if there's anything you want her to know, you better say it soon. The door shut behind him. Jude leaned back against the barn wall and let the chains rattle. Asterisk outside. Thunder rolled like distant cannons. Somewhere in town, a bell clanged in the wind, rusted, hollow. A sound without meaning. Asterisk, and in the sheriff's house across the road, a little girl with fever dreams whispered into the dark. Asterisk. The sky, it's blue now, Papa. She smiled faintly, then drifted into sleep. Asterisk. The rain didn't let up for 2 days. Asterisk, not the kind of rain that soothes. This was frontier rain, cold, angular. It sank into every crack of the earth and made the bones feel brittle. Klamath turned to mud. Chickens drowned in their own coops. Men cursed the sky and women patched roofs with torn canvas and whiskey breath. Asterisk in the loft of an old barn. Jude Calhoun lay wrapped in a moth-eaten blanket, a shackle still clamped around one ankle. The other wrist bore dried blood where the chain had rubbed raw. His breath came ragged, shallow. He didn't know if it was the fever or just the weight of it all, the war, the miles, the sky finally opening up when he had nothing left to give. Asterisk downstairs, hooves echoed. A boy had come riding fast. Then the door slammed and boots stomped through the wet. Asterisk. Sheriff Rusk's voice was tight, low. My sister's boy fell in the ravine, East Trail, floods still running hard. Asterisk. Where's the doc? Someone asked. Asterisk. Dead 2 winters. We only got the blacksmith. Jude stirred. No one looked up at him. No one cared if the half-dead drifter in the loft heard. Asterisk. They didn't know he was already moving. Asterisk didn't see him snap the rusted bolt holding his chain, twisting his ankle against the beam until bone popped and the iron came free. Asterisk didn't hear him groan as he limped down the ladder. Asterisk. The front barn door banged open, and the storm met him with a slap. Cold mud pulled at his boots. He moved like a man wading through memory, slow, pained, but driven by something too quiet to name. Asterisk. He didn't stop to ask permission. Just climbed on the nearest unsaddled horse, kicked its side, and rode into the flood. Asterisk. No one tried to stop him. Not the sheriff, not the boy's father, not even God. Asterisk. The canyon trail was a churning river. Rocks slipped beneath the horses. Hooves, trees bent under wind. Asterisk. He found the child half submerged under a broken pine. Face blue, arm bent wrong. Jude dove in. The water bit hard, mountain cold and fast as judgment. He grabbed the boy's belt, pulled once. The current. Fought back. A sharp branch sliced his side. Blood mixed with rain. Then the boy coughed, alive. Jude dragged him to the bank and collapsed. The sky overhead gave no thanks. He woke to the scent of burning sage. His shirt was gone. His ribs were wrapped. The pain in his leg was muffled. Not gone, he wasn't in the barn anymore. He lay in a round earthen room, carved into the base of a canyon wall. Smoke drifted through a small hole in the ceiling. Feathers and bundles of herbs hung from wooden pegs. A bowl of boiled roots sat beside him, across the room, near the fire. A woman sat cross-legged. She didn't look up, didn't speak. Just slowly crushed dried leaves in a bowl, mixing them with water in silence. She was Apache by blood, or maybe half. Skin the color of dusk. Eyes sharp as obsidian, tired as the desert. He tried to sit. She stopped him with one raised palm. Then came the voice, soft, deep, low, like the wind through canyon bones. You carry death like a cloak. Jude blinked. But the child, she said, carries light? He said nothing. Her name later would be given, Mariah Blackbird, but for now she was just stillness. A kind of quiet no church could teach. 2 days passed. Lena was brought to the canyon by the sheriff himself. Her fever had broken. Her eyes fluttered open with the weight of someone who had only known ceilings. Mariah took her hand. Didn't speak, simply placed a carved stone in the girl's palm, a bird in flight. Smooth, weightless. She says it's hers now, Jude whispered. Mariah didn't smile, but her eyes warmed, just slightly. The days blurred. Jude helped gather wood on crutches, fed a mountain goat, washed out wounds with boiled herbs. He never asked why she took them in. She never told. One afternoon they took Lena up the high ridge. For the first time she stood without coughing. Held the stone bird high and pointed. Is that an eagle? She whispered. Jude followed her finger. A speck moved across the clouds. Could be. I bet it sees everything, she said. Even Mama. Jude's throat closed. He knelt beside her. Your Mama. She'd want you to see it all. Have you seen the ocean? No. Have you seen snow? Yes. Have. You seen heaven? He didn't answer. One night, Mariah found Jude sitting by the fire alone. She handed him a strip of cured meat. He nodded thanks. She sat, facing him. You were a medic, she said simply. He looked up. The flames danced in his eyes. Not a good one. You tried to stop bleeding. Some wounds ain't meant to stop. Silence again. Then she reached into her satchel and pulled out a folded paper, charred at the edges. Smelled of old. Smoke? Left at the church, she said. The sheriff brought it. Jude unfolded it slowly, a bounty update. Not just wanted for reabduction of political ward. Underlined, stamped, the seal of a senator, the girl's blood family. Her real name. Evelyn Thorne, daughter of Edith and Senator Thaddeus Thorne, Washington, D.C. sent west for safety. Sold to a camp. Forgotten. Until now. Jude folded the paper once, twice, let it fall into the fire. Mariah didn't stop him. That night. He couldn't sleep. He sat outside the hogan, staring at the stars. His daughter, Evelyn, slept. Inside, wrapped in furs. He pulled out the locket from around his neck. Opened it. A dried violet inside. The only thing her mother ever left her. He thought about writing away. Letting her live with someone better, safer, with papers, with law. But who would tell her about the bird, or the campfires, or how to tell real thunder from cannon fire in a dream? He didn't cry. He just sat very still. Mariah came out and stood beside him. You would die for her, she said. He nodded. She needs someone who will live for her. At dawn, hooves echoed again. Not one rider, 10, maybe more, down below. On the Mesa Trail, a company of riders approached Klamath. Flags, uniforms, the marshal's star. Jude stood, silhouetted against the firelight, his shirt pulled. tight over the bandage. He didn't go inside the hogan. He didn't wake the girl. He just stared out at the horizon and whispered one thing, barely louder than the dawn. Greater than if they come for her. Tell her I was someone worth remembering. Mariah watched him and said nothing. The sun rose behind clouds, low and gray like a wound that hadn't closed. The riders came quiet, not thundering like bandits, but steady like men who thought their saddles carried justice. Dust followed them in low, rolling waves. A banner flapped with damp weight, silver star, red sash, U.S. Marshal colors. They entered Klamath like a funeral procession. Sheriff Rusk met them at the edge of town, standing alone beside the well, badge dull against his chest, coat damp at the collar. His limp was heavier that morning. He looked older than he did the night before. The marshal dismounted. His face was waxy and pale, eyes lined by sleepless nights and office walls. A bureaucrat in a soldier's coat. "We're here for the girl," he said flatly. Rusk didn't move. Evelyn Thorne. Her father's men claim she's been taken across 3 territories by a fugitive, Jude Calhoun. You mean the man who pulled a boy out of a flood 3 nights back? Rusk asked. The marshal blinked. Law doesn't bend for heroics. Rusk's jaw shifted. His fingers drummed against the butt of his revolver. Then he simply said, "She's not here." The marshal glanced at the 10 men behind him, some ex-military, some new hires, all armed, all nervous. "We'll search," the marshal said. "You can try." Rusk replied. He turned and walked away. The marshal gave the order. Men split, 3 toward the chapel, 2 toward the barn, for into the hills, but none knew the land, none knew about the canyon. At the canyon's edge, Jude knelt near the creek, washing mud from his hands. The girl sat nearby, carving a shape into a flat rock with a dull nail, a bird. Again, her favorite. He watched her. And in that moment she looked more alive than she ever had, hair wild in the wind, cheeks touched by sun, stone bird in her lap like a thing she'd always known. He didn't tell her what was coming, didn't say goodbye. He stood. Walked to Mariah, who waited by the goat pens, braiding cord in slow loops. "They'll find this place," he said quietly. "I know." He looked at her. "I need your help." She nodded once, not asking what. Just said, "You'll have 1 chance." The marshal's men found the trail just past noon, an old boot track leading up the butte. They followed it single file, cautious. Then they saw it, smoke, faint and curling from the base of the canyon wall. They rode down fast at the edge. Rifles raised, they saw a man step out from the shadows. Jude, alone, hands visible. No weapon. He walked to the center of the clearing and stopped. "This is what you came for," he called. "Take me, let her stay." The marshal's horse stepped forward. "You've got no right to offer terms." "I don't need right," Jude said, "just mercy." The marshal's eyes narrowed. "Where's the girl?" Jude didn't answer, and then a sound from behind him. Small footsteps. The girl walked out of the hogan, stone bird in her hand, hair tangled, cheeks flushed. She walked past Jude and stood between him and the horses. "This is my papa," she said. The words were soft, but they cracked something wide open in the canyon. He gave me the sky. No one spoke. Then a sharp bark from the marshal. Take the girl. Riders dismounted, boots crunching gravel. Jude stepped forward, slow, tense. And that's when Sheriff Rusk appeared from the brush to the left. Rifle raised. He looked thinner, pale, but his hand didn't shake. "Marshal," he called. "Your orders just changed." "Step aside," the marshal warned. "Not today." Another rifle click. Mariah stepped out behind the hogan, bow in hand. No words. Just eyes like a storm gathering. One of the younger deputies flinched. A hawk shrieked in the distance. Then everything broke. The marshal gave the order. Gunfire exploded like thunder trapped in stone. Jude grabbed Evelyn, shielded her with his body, dove behind a trough. Bullets ripped through canvas. Wood shattered. Dust flew like smoke. Rusk fired twice, dropped one rider, took a bullet in the side. Fell hard but crawled to cover. Maria loosed an arrow. One horse screamed. Another man tumbled. Jude handed Evelyn the locket. If anything happens, I know, she said, and she ran, fast, small, toward the goat pens. Toward the shadowy ridge Maria had shown her days before. Jude rose, rifle now in hand. Taken from a fallen rider. He moved with a limp, but his shots were clean, controlled. Years of war behind every pull of the trigger. Blood mixed with rain in the dirt. The marshal took a bullet to the shoulder, screamed, "Fall back!" He shouted. What was left of his men obeyed. In minutes. It was over, only the echo of retreat. Rusk was dying. He lay against a rock, blood soaking his coat. Jude knelt beside him. "You shouldn't have done that," Jude whispered. Rusk smiled, teeth red. "You ever lose a child, Calhoun?" Jude's jaw clenched. Rusk reached up, pressed something into his palm, the badge. "Make her free," he whispered. "Don't make her safe." His eyes stayed open. But the man was gone. Jude closed them. They buried him beneath the butte. No coffin. "Just stone and prayer. Maria said the old words in a language no one remembered how to write. Evelyn placed her bird carving on the rocks. And then silence. Just wind. Just sky. They left that place before the next. Morning. No goodbyes. No words. Maria handed Jude a map. Trails only she knew. Said nothing. Jude picked Evelyn up, set her on the back of a horse, and they rode east, not toward Washington. Not toward justice, but toward sky. She leaned her head against his chest. "Will the stars be out tonight?" she asked. He looked up. "They're always there," he said. "Even when you can't see them." She was asleep before the sun fully rose, and he rode on, eyes forward, past blood, past judgment, into something that might one day become peace.